we want more time. We want more charts. Well, starting Monday, you're going to get them. More Tim than you can take. So not long ago, I started showing up on the morning segment. And then, as I say, starting Monday, not 15-minute show, but a double that, half an hour show, starting at the top of the hour. Here on the Pacific Coast, that means noon or 3 o'clock. If you're EST, you can do the math. But anyway, that will be starting. And how am I going to fill up all that time? Well, it's going to vary. There are some days when things are going so gloriously that they can't shut me up, and I would mind a 5-hour show. There are other days when I probably would be just as well to say hello, goodbye, and be done with it. So I'll probably make those maybe more educational focused, talk about techniques as opposed to the markets for a full half hour. It'll vary depending on my mood. But anyway, that's coming. Today is a standard 15-minute show. And having said that, we will begin those 15 minutes or what's left of them. Today's big event, of course, was the jobs report. And it came in really weak. They were looking for like 85,000 jobs. Instead, they lost like 23,000. This is basically like a huge, like Wembley Stadium full of people that didn't get jobs. And when that happened, everything just rallied because, the logic's sort of like, this means they can lower interest rates and that'll be good for the economy, which isn't necessarily true. And then yay. So everything just blasted higher. The TLT is higher too, but not by much because this was a really chilly jobs report. And the TLT is up all of it, 0.14%. It's nothing, as my mother used to say, it's nothing to write home about. Let's keep in mind that bonds have been in a bear market since March 2020. 6.5-year long bear market. There's the lifetime chart. There's the peak, and it's just been down ever since. We're basically grinding around near those lows right now. So, but for the moment, it is thrilling the equity markets out there, which starting last Wednesday afternoon began to have money shower upon them, and it's not stopping now. But even though the ES and the NQ and RTY and YM are all still benefiting, the ZB is just kind of like nothing. It's literally where it was before the announcement happened. So it's like a non-event. Now, I got to tell you, next week poses an existential risk to the one or two bears that are still alive today. This could go one of two ways. If we can't really taco again because we sort of tacoed already, but if there's some sort of like big meaningful news that's perceived positively, or if there's just follow through at all this buying, we could easily blast above Wednesday's peak. This is the spider, and the bulls will just keep trampling. On the other hand, if for whatever reason we start selling off and re-penetrate that rectangle, that would be quite bearish. Or we could go in between and sink but stay above the rectangle, which could be just a little consolidation. So that simple rectangle is important to watch. But as I say, I mean, I've kind of had enough. I'd gone from 14% exposed, and I tiptoed my way back by yesterday to like 100%. I've gone back some. I'm like at 80% now, and I'd like that. That's enough for me. I'm not going to overexpose myself. Weekends, I think we should be terrified of them all, and so I'm keeping it at 80%. The ES, for obvious reasons, looks very similar. This is still bullishly configured. We're ending the week on a bullish note, and so it's kind of the bulls to lose at this point. They have every advantage exiting this week and going into the next week. The big event next week will be the inflation data on Wednesday. I think CPI is Wednesday morning, so it'll be the next big event. Earnings obviously are kind of done at this point, and we'll revisit that topic in just a sec. Hats off to SpaceX. Yay. We're above 130 now. We're getting within spitting distance of the 135 IPO price. This is the one asset I love to see go up. And my crazy notion, which I've been mentioning, it was that paradoxically, the release of all those shares would actually cause a rally. And I've stated my reasons for this. I think it was kind of baked into the price already. I think the vast majority of insiders have no interest in selling at these prices. And it's been a very stabilizing week. You know, it's Friday today. We were near lifetime lows yesterday. We were at lifetime lows on Monday. So we're just talking pennies, really. We almost matched those lifetime lows yesterday. But we've had a good recovery the past couple of days. And we've gone, it seems hard to believe, but we've gone up about 25% since yesterday's lows. So it seems to have found a pretty solid base there. How high will it go? 150 is my guess, before it really has to, you know, do something special. It may be range bound for a while, between about 100 and 150. It'll obviously take years and years to fully express whatever its potential is, but I'm pleased to see it turned out the way I was kind of hoping. Semiconductors continue to be a crucially important sector here, and the SOXL, which is the leveraged bullish ETF for that sector, looks prospectively bearish. I sure hope so, because that continues to be my focus. I have no big ETF positions at this time, but I am short all kinds of little bitty stocks. Quite a few are in that sort of semiconductor hyperscaling space. But still, I mean, in spite of all the strength we've seen over the past 7 trading days, this could still make a good turn lower. As far as metals go, they've had a great week. But here too, I think this may be just about out of gas. Here's GLD. We have gone exploding higher and just perfectly kissed the bottom of that right triangle pattern. I mean, it was just nailed it. I mean, back here, it's just kind of crumbling, but we got this big rally, and we are just right there. What if it keeps rallying? Okay, could happen. Could absolutely happen. The next test will be this descending trend line. Cross above that, and okay, great. I guess we're in a whole new bull run here for gold. As it is now, I think it's time for this to take a rest. The same applies to silver, SLV. Yes, we're up again, 3% today alone. We've had a very strong week, but it's the exact same pattern, and we're coming up right against that big base of the rectangle. So naturally, miners, GDX, really benefit from this kind of move. And this is a much murkier pattern. It's I wouldn't touch this in either direction, but it is up almost 7%. So miners have been doing just fantastically well, whereas a month ago they were just in the dumper. What else is going on? Well, you know what I wanted to talk about mostly was we had that final tidal wave of earnings, and I wanted to just thumb through a bunch of those really big companies that have recently announced earnings and kind of reviewed what's happened to them. And it's a mixed bag. Some look very good, some look more risky. Roughly in the order they came out with their earnings, let's just thumb through those right now. The first one is Microsoft. This one bottomed just only about a month ago or so. It was down around 350, and it's up above, it's around 500 now. That is a really impressive move. That's, I mean, 350 to 500, what is that, 40%? I can't do the math that fast. Something like that is tremendous, especially for a company that size. I would say, though, that the kind of easy part, if you want to call it that, of the rally is done. You can see just it's gone very far, very fast, and at a minimum, I would expect it to consolidate some of those gains. And I would also note that here's the lifetime high. We had a lower high here. This may well turn out, whenever it stops, to be just another lower high. So that's Microsoft. On the same day, Meta announced. This one is, this worked out well for me because I was shorted and I covered it, knock it off, kid, on this day, right near the lows of the day. And it rallied like crazy. It rallied. Now it's kind of pooping out. It could still hack its way higher as far as this gap. I hope not, but it could. But Meta, broadly speaking, has been much more of a mess. The bottom is not so clear, but the top is quite plain. Lifetime high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. It's like a bouncing ball all the way down. So that's been interesting to watch. Apple, which I think is still the most valuable company on the planet, they had terrific results, but strangely, they dropped after them. They're about not quite 10% below that lifetime high they were at last week. This one is one of the stocks that's basically, you just put it in a safe deposit box and forget about it. It has plenty of gyrations along the way, but on the whole, it's just been an amazing performer. Amazon has really gotten its mojo back. Amazon blasted higher after their own earnings. It's right near lifetime highs. I think it just crossed 3 trillion after that for the first time ever. So that was a very good report from them. Palantir, same deal, even more so. Huge gain, like a 30% gain on the day, enormous gap up. And the whatever pattern had been here has been just wrecked. This thing is definitely in bull mode again. And there's no clear pattern in either direction. It's just been an amazing performer this week. Caterpillar is just kind of an odd one because not a lot of people think of this as a tech stock, but it's very much part of the hyperscaler world. The interesting thing about this one is this trend line still matters. And the peak was here, and we fell and fell and fell. We started to recover. Earnings came out. It opened very strong, but as I noted that day, it mashed up against that broken trend line. And what has it done since then? Red, 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 red. So what's the result? Well, you've essentially undone the entirety of, you've done the entirety of that raise. Look at this. This is pre-earnings release. They released it. This was the open the next day. Down, 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 down. So it's almost to the penny, I think. Just for fun, let's just look real quick. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that amazing? So today's low is basically minor support. Break that, and then the earnings become just, who cares? It doesn't even matter anymore. It was completely rendered moot. How are we doing on time? See, we won't have to worry quite much about time starting on Monday. AMD still looks bearish. We've still got the makings of it. Could be a very handsome topping pattern forming there. Shopify blasted higher on Wednesday. And here too, as with Palantir, that topping pattern doesn't really matter anymore. But I do want to point out this one thing. If you are bearishly inclined on this, there is one gap right there, bang, that is minor resistance at this point. It's actually a very important little gap. And we've gotten right close to it. But after that blast higher, we've just been hanging out below it. Hasn't been able to conquer that gap. A couple more, and these are very closely related. SanDisk, I got short on this yesterday at a good price, and it's a nice looking topping pattern, so that looks promising. WDC, I was short, covered right near the low yesterday, but I actually re-entered that position later in the day. And it's down a little now, not quite 3%, but it's not as pretty as the SanDisk pattern, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Just a few moments left here. Let's make good use of those. Couple of just quick last things. Crude oil, keep a close eye on it. We seem to have based. We seem to have hit the low on Wednesday. If you see this rise, something is cooking in Iran again, and we could see that flip equities lower. And with that in mind, the NQ is still below this resistance line. As I say, existential risk to the bears. Cut above this line, cut into lifetime highs in the ES, and it could be just bull run in perpetuity at that point. Anyway, end of the week. I will see you on Monday with a longer show, and I appreciate you swinging by. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.